Some things are just, classic. As video game graphics get better and better, they make older ones look, well, often worse and worse. But these 10 Super Nintendo games will always look amazing. Yoshi's Island. Yoshi's Island has a special chip on the card actually, and it makes some incredible cartoon-like graphics in this game. In this game, you're trying to save baby Mario as Yoshi, and everything looks very storybook-like, and it is super appropriate for the content. There's a lot of impressive morphing and rotation going on in the game. You got bosses that are, willing to drop their drawers. That's scandalous. There's absolutely beautiful colors in the game. You're going to hear me say that quite often in this video. There's a lot of excellent, incredible colors. It's one of the best looking games on the Super Nintendo, but it's not the only game on the list that looks like a Saturday morning cartoon. This game is available as part of the Switch online services through Nintendo, so you can play this game today, and you should. Actrazer II. This game is an incredible representation of being a god.
To indeed be a god!
The first game is usually the one most people love and admire the most, but this game is just a graphical step up. Granted, it's a slight change in gameplay, as you don't have to do the simulation stuff anymore, which many people favor to be fair, but the beautiful sprite work in this game, along with all the poses and such for each character, is complex and detailed. Part 2 of Actrazer is stuck on the SNES, so emulate or whatever you have to do, but Part 1 is pretty widely available nowadays on Android, Switch, PS4, and Windows, and it even has a remake, so check it out. The Adventures of Batman and Robin. I didn't know that it was possible for a game so well to capture the spirit of an animated series. Wow. This game is absolutely gorgeous and feels almost like a scaled down version of the show, from lots of pixels to, fewer pixels. It's such an incredible ratio. This game can make you feel like your parents were gunned down in the middle of an alley and now you're a off vigilante. And you'll be happy about it.
You gotta be pleased about it.
It's gritty where it needs to be gritty, and colorful where it needs to be colorful, and beautiful where it needs to be, just like the show. This game isn't available anywhere outside physical copy and emulation at the moment, but it's totally worth playing if you get a hold of it. Demon's Crest. For such a dark premise, this game is amazing looking. The sprites in the game are incredible, the designs of the bosses and the demons are absolutely stellar, with an amazing attention to detail. We got that fancy Mode 7, I think it's Mode 7 at least, stuff like when you're flying around, and that's some pretty epic travel, a staple really for the Super Nintendo. When you play this one, you get so lost in the moment and forget a couple of things. First thing, this game is likely the same Capcom engine, I guess that you would call it, that A Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse utilized. They feel, oddly similar. And you'll forget that you're the jerk Firebrand from Ghosts and Goblins.
I hate that guy.
It's magical to see what some fancy graphics can do for you. It's a super fun game, it's short, and it's available on the Nintendo Switch online services, so again, you can play this one today. Donkey Kong Country, of course it's going to be on this list, right? There's this story that someone from Nintendo went to Rare's headquarters in England to check out what they were doing with Donkey Kong Country and the pre-rendered graphic stuff that they got rolling. And the person from Nintendo was impressed, but started looking under the shelf where the SNES was sitting, trying to find the PC that the game had been running on. They were, of course, shocked when they learned that it was actually just running on the Super Nintendo, and the pre-rendered graphics were that great. That is about all the testimony you need to know that this game looks so good still, despite running on 30-year-old hardware.
It's still good.
This game, of course, is Donkey Kong, right? It's available on the Nintendo Switch online services. Check it out today. Earthworm Jim, the absolute epitome of the 90s, with a little attitude, absurd, and just general grossness. Earthworm Jim looks amazing even today on the Super Nintendo. There are some impressive 3D render things like this hanging fridge, and some really impressive animations for character sprites. The underwater sections look as awesome as they are frustrating. And while it's a tough game, it's worth giving a shot just to see how excellent character sprites could look in an action game for the Super Nintendo. This game is also available on the Nintendo Switch Online Plus services, but it's only available as the Sega Genesis version, which is also very, very good. Hagan. This game is so hard that a cat couldn't scratch it, but it's certainly pretty. There's just something about the smoothness of the moving arms on the character and the sprite animations as the hero jumps around place to place, throwing tons of grenades and whatever else. The bosses look amazing, they look awesome, and there's some interesting effects going on here like these rose petals. Now the detail in this game might leave some thinking it's a pixely mess, but retro lovers will certainly appreciate the attention to detail in the characters and the backgrounds alike. For a dystopian robot future sort of setting, hey, this thing looks amazing. Unfortunately, the only way you're going to play this game is through emulation currently. Hopefully we'll get this out somewhere else. If you know of any place, please let me know in the comments. Yoshi Safari. Now this is bad. This is so bad. But this, oh wow. This game was super early on in the Super Nintendo's lifespan. It doesn't use any sort of special carts or chip or anything, and it has these huge, beautiful monsters and this awesome Mode 7 stuff going on for the trail. This game used the Super Scope, which is a freaking monster of a gun, and it was one of the very few games that did use it. But it's a cool enough game to give it a try should you get the opportunity. And if you can afford to put batteries in this beast, holy smokes. Nevertheless, the big character sprites look amazing, particularly on an old school screen. It's not easy to play this game nowadays. The most authentic way would be to use the original hardware with a Super Scope, but the easiest will likely be emulation with a mouse of some sort. Worst case scenario, watch a playthrough on YouTube. Pretty neat. Mega Man X3. While not the most celebrated of the bunch of Mega Man X games on the Super Nintendo, the first one is the best, I mean obviously, let's be honest, this one really pushed the graphics. It's clear that the 3 Mega Man X games are all similar on the Super Nintendo, but this one really added so much to the graphics with such smooth animations and the sprites, and the wireframe sort of graphics that show up periodically in the game. This game, like Yoshi's Island and Mega Man X2, used a special chip to enhance the graphics. That's why you don't see this as secondhand Chinese fakes. Fortunately, Capcom has done a great job of making this game available everywhere pretty often. They're certainly capitalizing on it. It's available digitally and physically on PS4, Switch, Xbox, PC, and the Mega Man X Legacy Collection. So there's not a lot of excuses why you should not check them out. They are out there. While these games were in no particular order, I think Yoshi's Island and this next one are the most impressive of the bunch. Hey, I appreciate you making it this far in the video. That's smoking menthols at the double quick eating a chili dog. Wildcat cool. If you haven't subscribed and you like this content, I'd encourage you to check out some of my other videos. Thank you so much for watching. Video game discourse is important, so let me know what you think in the comments. Here we go, last one. Kirbys Dreamland 3. I have a soft spot for cute games and cartoon-like games, so this style of game really appeals to me. It's sort of like a storybook and has this hand-drawn aesthetic. This lovely game also used a special chip for the graphics. Kirby, in my humble opinion, doesn't seem to mind to take risks with graphical styles, and this was one of his first forays into that. And later we'd see stuff like Kirby's Epic Yarn, which, again, is beautiful. This game, fortunately, is also available on the Nintendo Switch online services, so you can play this game today. Hey, I realize that graphics aren't everything, buddy, they can't hurt, and these rock.